This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by Next 1000. A lot of folks in New Hampshire are speculating what the Republicans' priorities are going to be now that they've won such a crushing victory. The 2010 general elections saw the New Hampshire State House go 3/4 Republican and the Senate also. The state's powerful executive council is also now unanimously Republican. For the uninitiated, an executive council is a little bit like a vice president with veto power. Anyhow, I don't know what the Republicans' priorities are going to be, but as a Republican, I would like to say what I think their priorities should be. And rather than using the term priority, maybe I should use the term goal so I can define things. Number 1, creating a commerce-friendly environment in New Hampshire that surpasses all the other states by a factor of at least 15%. Maybe that would be referred to as a factor of 1.15, I don't know. For instance, if Colorado were the second most business-friendly state in the Union, New Hampshire would be 15% friendlier than that by the end of 2012. As of a couple years ago, I think we were rated number 7. I think it's realistically within the legislature's power to bring us up to number 1 in 2 years and make us convincingly number 1. If we could just get to that point, then businesses around the country will begin fleeing here, and we will have a virtuous cycle on our hands. Our economic survival during the coming collapse will be, I think, relatively assured. Notice also that I said commerce-friendly, not business-friendly. Of course, I favor business friendliness, but I'm talking about all commerce. It doesn't have to be a business. I'm talking about individuals doing commerce with each other. I'm talking about all kinds of free market activity, major reductions in regulation, spending, and taxation. Number 2 priority, or number 2 goal, should be to avoid social engineering. The Democrats got in trouble partly because they let their social agenda get the better of them. At least that's the public perception. Well, the Republicans should just set aside their social agenda. Don't try to fix perceived social problems, just leave them alone. Focus on commerce, commerce, and commerce. Getting out of its way at every turn. Stop obsessing over gay marriage. If you've got a problem with gay marriage, get rid of all state marriage licenses. That will put gay folks and straight folks on the same footing without the state having to endorse gay marriage. Repeal the New Hampshire marriage license. Let the churches take care of it. So anyway, to define this goal of staying out of social fights, I would say if the Republicans have taken on 75% fewer social issues than the Democrats, that would be a success. And by the way, I don't consider getting rid of a bureaucracy to be taking on a social issue. You might call that getting the government out of a social issue, and you might call it social in its implications, but it's not trying to fix a social problem through government. The third goal I'd like to recommend for the GOP in the state is to end their session at the end of 2012, after 2 years session, with fewer laws, fewer words worth of law on the book than they came in. Right now, I'm estimating there are about 20,000 words of New Hampshire law. Well, that should be less than 20,000 when they go out. I don't want to see them fixing big government problems by writing laws that add to the law. I want to see things repealed. Again, that's a measurable goal. It's like, I don't know, last I checked, 80 megabytes worth of law. Let's see that down to 79.9 megabytes or smaller when they're done.
Degrees above zero out here at 7:30 in the morning.
And the final goal I'd like to recommend is probably the most achievable: passage of some sort of meaningful sovereignty legislation, similar to HCR 6, the states' rights bill. Sort of similar. Again, personally, my preference would be to see a bill that just repeals a lot of the cooperation with Washington. But I'm not sure if that's achievable, so I can settle for the idea of adding a few words to the law if it bans Washington from certain activities in New Hampshire, or forbids certain types of cooperation with the Washington government. I do not favor any kind of forceful penalties or tax-funded penalties for violators of such a law. I think the penalty should be expulsion from job or removal of authority, something like that. Something completely non-aggressive and non-violent. The penalty for federal abuses or the penalty for state employee cooperation with the feds should be to take something away from them that is currently given by the state or its residents. But anyhow, I guess, again, I should define success on this goal. If there is a bill just as robust or more robust than HCR 6, bill/resolution, I would consider that success. A lot of opportunities for you other Republican folks out there. Don't blow them. Oh, I'd like to propose a fifth goal. The size of the state government should be 40% smaller after adjusted for inflation. By size of the state government, I mean size of the state budget. And of course, by that I mean 40% smaller at the end of 2012 than it was at the beginning of 2011. That would be success. Why is it that hundreds of liberty lovers have moved and continue to move to New Hampshire? In part, it's because of the Free State Project's first 1,000 pledge. The success of that pledge gave this man an idea. Max Abramson of New Hampshire is starting what he calls the Next 1,000 Pledge, designed to get another 1,000 Free Staters into New Hampshire by 2011. To find out more, visit pledgebank.com/next1000.